This is for Algebra 2. We're going to multiply matrices today. The first thing you have to realize is that when you have a matrix, like on this number 1, you identify it based on the number of rows and the number of columns it has. So if I have A that's a 3 by 2, that means I have 3 rows by 2 columns. Remember that a row runs across the page and that a column goes up and down. So when you're multiplying, the first step is to figure out, can you multiply them? Because you can't always do it. When multiplying matrices, the number of columns in the first matrix must be the same as the number of rows in the second matrix. Okay? So if I had A that's a 3 by 2, and I want to multiply it by B that is a 2 by 4, you got to look at the number of columns in the first one, which is your second number, and the number of rows in the second one, which is your first number. They have to be the same. They're both 2, so yes, it works. And it would become AB, and it's going to be a 3 by 4, because the number on the outside tells you what the dimensions of the new one will be. So the first thing you have to do is remember to look and see, can you even do this? So like looking at number 1 down here, this first one has 2 rows and 2 columns, so this is what we call a 2 by 2. B has 2 rows and 3 columns, so we call it a 2 by 3. So you look at your, I call them your inside numbers. Are they the same? Yes, they are. So yes, you can multiply them, and your answer is going to be a 2 by 3. And the reason I know it's going to be a 2 by 3 is because the outside numbers form the dimensions. Now, you don't have to do it this way, but my personal preference is once I know it's a 2 by 3 to draw that out so I know where my number should go. So 2 rows by 3 columns. You may want to get a highlighter for this. Sometimes it makes it easier. This spot right here that I'm fixing to work with, do you see that it is the first row, the first column? That means you're going to take the first row and multiply it by the first column. And so the way that's going to work is you're going to say 3 times 5, okay, 3 times 5 plus negative 5 times 8. So I take this row times this column. 3 times 5 plus negative 5 times 8. So now this next spot right here, that would be row 1, column 2. So you're going to take row 1 times column 2. So that's going to be 3 times 1 plus negative 5 times negative 4. Moving to the next one. This is row 1, column 3. So it's row 1 times column 3. So that's going to be 3 times negative 3 plus negative 5 times 9. So then you're ready to start on the next row. So this right here would be row 2, column 1. So you're going to take row 2 times column 1. So you're going to say 2 times 5 plus 7 times 8. This one is row 2, column 2, so row 2 times column 2. 2 times 1 plus 7 times negative 4. And then you have row 2, column 3, so row 2 times column 3. 2 times negative 3 plus 7 times 9. Once you see this pattern of what you're multiplying, the rest of it's number crunching. It's just putting it in your calculator. Okay, so you're going to say 3 times 5 plus negative 5 times 8. And you're just going to take your calculator and do it at the home screen. So clear it out, and we've got 3 times 5 plus negative 5 times 8. When you hit enter, you get negative 25. So negative 25 goes in this spot. So then you take your calculator and you say 3 times 1 plus negative 5 times negative 4. And you get 23. So you put a 23 in the next spot. Then you say 3 times negative 3 plus negative 5 times 9. You get a negative 54. So now you do the second row. 2 times 5 plus 7 times 8. And you get 66. 2 times 1 plus 7 times negative 4. You get negative 26. 2 times negative 3 plus 7 times 9. And you get 57. This is a matrix, so you need to put the brackets around it. That right there is your answer. Once you see how to set it up, it's not that bad to do the math part. So the first thing you want to do is identify the dimensions. And so this first one has 2 rows and 2 columns. It's a 2 by 2. The second one has 2 rows and 3 columns. It's a 2 by 3. So you look and you say, yes, the inside number is the same, so I can do this. And the dimensions of my answer are going to be a 2 by 3, outside numbers. So 2 rows, 3 columns. So you're going to start by taking row 1 times column 1. So this becomes 3 times 5 plus 2 times 5. Row 1 times column 2 is 3 times 1 plus 2 times 3. Row 1 times column 3, 3 times 2 plus 2 times negative 1. Then you use row 2. So negative 1 times 5 plus negative 2 times 5. Negative 1 times 1 plus negative 2 times 3. Negative 1 times 2 plus negative 2 times negative 1. You can either punch it in the calculator or do it in your head, your way. This is 15 plus 10, so we're going to have 25. 3 plus 6, you're going to have 9. 6 minus 2, you're going to have 4. Negative 5 minus 10, negative 15. Negative 1 minus 6, negative 7. And negative 2 plus 2, 0. Put your brackets around it, and that is your answer. Going to the next page. Start by looking at your dimensions. This has 3 rows and 2 columns, so it's a 3 by 2. This has 2 rows and 2 columns, so it's a 2 by 2. Inside numbers are the same. Yes, you can do it, and it's going to be a 3 by 2. So you're going to have 1, 2, 3 rows and 2 columns. So this time you're going to take row 1 times, I totally did that wrong. You're going to take row 1 times column 1. So that's negative 6 times negative 1 plus 4 times 3. And then that's negative 6 times 0 plus 4 times 7. So now you're going to use row 2. So negative 2 times negative 1 plus 8 times 3. Negative 2 times 0 plus 8 times 7. Then you use row 3. 3 times negative 1 plus 0 times 0. No. Don't get in a hurry or you'll make little mistakes like that one. 3 times negative 1 plus 0 times 3. And then 3 times 0 plus 0 times 7. So that's going to be 6 plus 12, 18. 0 plus 28, 28. 2 plus 24, 26. 0 plus 56, 56. Negative 3 plus 0, negative 3, 0 plus 0, 0. I encourage you to use your calculator to check your work if you're doing it in your head. So that's your answer. So the next one, start by identifying what your dimensions are. This is a 2 by 3, and this is a 3 by 1. Insides are both 3, so yes, it works, and your answer will be a 2 by 1. That means you have 2 rows and 1 column. So you're going to start by saying row 1 times column 1. And so you're going to say 4 times negative 2 plus negative 2 times 5 plus negative 7 times 3. It's okay to have 3 groups there. And then you do row 2 times column 1. So 6 times negative 2 plus 3 times 5 plus 5 times 3. So if you just go through here, 4 times negative 2 is negative 8, negative 10, negative 21. So 21, 31, that's going to be negative 39. Here you have negative 12, 15, 15. So 15 minus 12 is 3, plus 15 is 18. That's your answer. Moving to the next page. Start by identifying your dimensions. We have a 2 by 2, and we have a 2 by 2. Yes, you can do it, and your answer is a 2 by 2. So draw out your spots, 2 by 2. 1 times 2 plus 5 times 3. 1 times 8 plus 5 times 4. Negative 1 times 2 plus 4 times 3. Negative 1 times 8 plus 4 times 4. So you have 2 plus 15 is 17. 8 plus 20 is 28. Negative 2 plus 12 is 10. Negative 8 plus 16 is 8. And that's your answer. We have a 3 by 2 and we have a 2 by 1. And sides are 2, it works, and my answer is going to be a 3 by 1. 3 rows, 1 column. So 2 times 6 plus 4 times 1. 6 times 6 plus 5 times 1. 1 times 6 plus 4 times 1. So 12 plus 4 is 16. 36 plus 5 is 41. 6 plus 4 is 10. Put your brackets around it, that's your answer. We have 1 row and 2 columns, so that's a 1 by 2. And you have 2 rows and 1 column, so that's a 2 by 1. Inside numbers are the same, so it does work, and you end up with the 1 by 1. A 1 by 1 looks really strange. It's just one blank, one number. So 1 times 6 plus 4 times 3. So that's going to be 6 plus 12, and 18 with brackets around it is your answer. We have a 2 by 2, and we have a 2 by 3. Yes, you can do it, and it's going to be a 2 by 3. 2 rows, 3 columns. So you're going to say 2 times 3 plus negative 2 times 1. 2 times 0 plus negative 2 times 4. 2 times 2 plus negative 2 times negative 1. Then you do row 2. 1 times 3 plus 0 times 1. 1 times 0 plus 0 times 4. 1 times 2 plus 0 times negative 1. So 6 minus 2 is 4. 0 minus 8 is negative 8. 4 plus 2 is 6. 3 plus 0 is 3. 0 and 0 is 0. 2 plus 0 is 0. Not 0. 2 plus 0 is 2. Put your brackets around it, and you have your answer. Okay, never really had one that wouldn't work, so let's make one up. I'm not going to make you work through it because it's going to be a 1, 2, 5, 8 times 7, 3, 4. This is a 2 by 2. This is a 1 by 3. Do you see how this and this is different? Can't multiply. That's your answer. Don't do it. All right, that's it. You're ready for your assignment.